Thank you, Blake, and thank you for your leadership on this issue. This is a critically important issue for our ability to compete. The governor and I were just in an event a few minutes ago. We talked about what can and will happen with Missouri agriculture and how it drives the economy. But jobs in outstate Missouri, the ability to compete in outstate Missouri, critically important to how we get connected to the rest of the world in ways that people in this room understand maybe better than people immediately on the other side of the cameras. You know, in the 20 years since the 1996 Telecommunications Act, 1.5 trillion private dollars have been invested in a broadband network. But it hasn't been invested in a way that everybody is equally has equal access. So when I was on the Senate floor a couple of weeks ago kicking off Rural Broadband Month, I was able to say a number of things, one of which was that the new chairman of the FCC, Ajit Pai, raised in Parson, Kansas. He knows what communities like the communities we're talking about are all about. Has already led the way to reverse some of the rules that had been put in the last 4 years to do what we need to do to create the kind of access to both the funding that's necessary and the regulations that are necessary to make this happen. About 39% of the people in rural America don't have access to broadband. Blake Hurst just mentioned in our state it's about 2/3 of people in rural Missouri don't have access to broadband. Then that new statistic that I just heard today was 70% of the people that do have access have concerns about the access they have. But access to broadband, access to speed, really important. I'm going to be on the Senate floor over the next few weeks talking about the success stories and the challenges. I was talking to Chris Chin, the Director of Agriculture, earlier about what happens at their feed mill now, run from the support group that they use in Minnesota, because they have the high-speed capacity to make the adjustments that are needed there. Everybody here who's had a combine breakdown and had to have somebody come out to do a repair several hours and lots of dollars later that could have been done immediately from somewhere else. It was just an adjustment. If you could have hooked that combine, if you could have hooked up to the kind of high-speed internet that needs to be there. But whether it's selling a locally made product or competing in a worldwide economy, this is important. Also mentioned schools and telemedicine. Telemedicine really works. It works in behavioral health. It works in that emergency room setting where suddenly you're linked up to all kinds of access you wouldn't have otherwise. This should be one of our top priorities. Infrastructure really matters to Missouri. Transportation infrastructure is a key to who we are and where we live, but we shouldn't have an infrastructure discussion that doesn't involve the discussion of broadband, and the governor's leading in that here. I hope we can continue to see the great support in our congressional delegation we have for what can happen, and this is a great event here today. I'm glad to be part of it.